When I started the podcast over 4 years ago, I put out an intention to help other parents as I filled the holes in my own parenting intuition with research skills to figure out how to raise my daughter. I wasn't sure where it would go, nor did I realize at the time how many families this work would impact over this time. Families who write with very personal, touching stories have served as fuel for me to keep going as I invested my own money and time, including time away from my own family, to create the trusted resource that so many families have come to value. Life was perhaps a little easier when I had a day job and worked on the podcasts on nights and weekends, but as the stories kept coming in and my relationships with parents around the world were deepening, I realized I'd found my purpose and could contribute to the world in a way that I'd initially wanted to when I went to graduate school to study environmental management, with the ambitious goal of helping to save the planet. Part of what I studied in grad school wasn't only environmental sustainability, but also social responsibility, and how the two can and should be part of a holistic approach. As most parents can probably attest, the birth of a child can really shift the way we see the world. So it seems like a natural path was laid out for me, even before I might have realized it. Those of you who have been listeners for a while now know that through a research-based approach, I cover not just the issues we need to survive as parents, but really aim to look at the world from a perspective that many of my listeners share, with a genuine desire to raise good humans who want to make real contributions to creating a better world. So as I set out on a path of building a more sustainable and inclusive parenting platform beyond the free podcast and started offering workshops, courses, and memberships, my own sense of purpose grew stronger. But ironically, it's been difficult to know how to charge fairly, despite, or perhaps even because of, the thousands of free hours I've already put in. I honestly have struggled communicating value and charging what people who are already in the memberships, courses, and workshops tell me they're worth. So the path forward needed to take into account the issue of financial sustainability, both for me and for the parents and caregivers I work with, as well as the issue of equity. I know that not all white people have a lot of money, and there are plenty of Black, Indigenous, and people of color who are affluent. But I want to acknowledge how structural racism has created unequal opportunities for people to get their needs met in life. I also feel a great deal of tension between seeing the difficulties that our capitalist system has created in the world and needing to take care of my own family. I want to help as many parents as possible and to be a small pebble that creates big ripples for a better world for our children, our future, and the planet. I really believe in the research-based approach that I take in the podcast and then help people to apply in the memberships and workshops are going to help us to make this happen. And sliding scale pricing feels like the right path forward to balance all of those factors. It shows the value of what I offer and invites people who can afford it to pay their way, while also making accommodations for every parent who wants to participate. For these reasons, I plan to implement the sliding scale pricing model across the courses, memberships, and workshops. What this means for you is that before you join a course, membership, or workshop, I'll invite you to consider your financial situation. Whether you identify as BIPOC, whether overall it feels like your metaphorical glass is empty, half empty, full, or even overflowing, and select an appropriate price based on these factors. Your experience after your purchase will be the same, no matter what amount you pay. I'm so excited for this new approach, and I hope you'll join me in not just helping ourselves, but in lifting others up as well. Parenting should be something that we do as a community in the broadest sense of that word. Thank you so much for joining me on this parenting journey.